This is a 1975 model Corvette C3. Now, a little bit of a brief history on this is that going back about a month ago, the daughter asked would I like the Harveys in the Corvette, and I said, you know, at that stage I was planning on buying another GB 350 motorcycle, and had no word from the dealer, and you know, she asked would I look around and see if I could find a Corvette at a reasonable price. So that's exactly what I did. Yeah, so I found this particular Corvette on Facebook Marketplace. I had it up for sale for $26,500, and it had a 20-year history with the owner in Tasmania and another 6 years history with a guy in New South Wales. So she contacted the guy about it, and he said she was a little bit late. Someone was coming to look at it to buy. So, you know, naturally thought this one's gone, especially at that price. It was at that stage $26,500 for a right-hand drive Corvette 75 in this really attractive yellow colour. So anyway, she didn't worry about it, and then sure enough, next morning she got a call from that guy on Facebook, and he said, would you like to come and inspect the car because the other person never showed up? Well, I'm sick of fooling around with bikes and buying bikes all the time now, and I wouldn't mind a bit of a break, so this is not a bad car to have that break on. Now, it's by no means perfect, but then again, if you want a perfect one of these, they're somewhere between, or they might not even be perfect, but the average going price is anywhere here in Australia between $40,000 and $50,000 to buy a C3. And the best thing I like about this C3 compared to the others is I like how it's got the old style window area still, and this is the last model from when they first came out, I think in '68. There are a few different things about this particular 75 model. I think it goes down in history as the least powerful Corvette made because of all the emissions back in '75, and I think they only come with the one 350 motor, where the previous model, the 74, you could get it with a I think up to a 454, or these ones only come out with a 350 with either 165 horsepower or roughly 200 horsepower, depending on what motor they had. But then again, that was 50 years ago, and I don't know if there'd be many of these imported to Australia to still be running that crappy motor. But this one's got a little bit work done to the motor, and I'll just flick that bonnet up in a minute and show you. And the other thing I like about the 75, I believe it was the last model where it was actually called a Stingray. So she sent me back the photos and asked what I thought about it. I said, yeah, go ahead and buy it. And in the meantime, even though he wasn't negotiable on $26,500, she found a couple of small things what she thought was wrong with it, and put the word on him and asked him would he take 25, which he knocked that figure back, and he said he'd meet her halfway. So the purchase price was $25,800, which to me was pretty good. Okay, we're looking into the engine bay now, and it's a fairly clean and tidy looking engine bay too, so I'll just swing around it. Now, the mods in question on this one has got the high performance coil. Underneath this air cleaner, it's got a Holly carb. It's got a really nice set of headers on the side. They were probably custom made here for that particular one, so you've got that one there, and you probably can't see it here, but I'll swing around the other side. You might be able to see down there, it's set out for side pipes. And apart from that, it's also fitted with a, I don't know, I suppose a more high performance cam. So I'll give you a listen to the motor now running along. It's sort of a little bit choppy. When these come out back in '75, they had some sort of a plastic type front and rear bumper on them, but over a period of time they either buckled or just disintegrated and couldn't handle the heat. Now this one front and rear's got a fiberglass front and rear nose cone on it, and you know, it wasn't too bad, but had a fair few stone chips on it there and underneath, which I'm working on. Right under there, I've been spraying it. Also the front lip there, which directs air up into the motor, back under there, that was cracked in 2 places, and I've been working on that too. So there's a fair bit of work going on this one as far as things go, and we'll have a look at the interior. So inside there's a fair bit that doesn't work, mainly over there in the gauge barnacle there in the centre of the dash. I'll bring it over. So there's that one. The horn doesn't work. Windows are a little bit slow on the wind. What I'm planning on doing, I'm going to do a what you'd call a playlist for this car right at the end, and I'm going to put up quite a bit on it. The seats are in good condition for leather, so they've got no rips in it. A few leather cracks and that, like how leather seats go, but apart from that, all good. So when you talk Corvettes, naturally they're all fiberglass, and some people think there's no trouble after that, but say from here down the bottom, right up over the top of the frame, right over the targa, down the screen, across the front, and down here is the area they call the birdcage, and that is one of the main prone areas for rust in these cars, depending on how they've been looked after over the 50 years or what part of the USA they come from. Also on the chassis rails too. Now apparently it's very expensive to repair that sort of work, so if you get a bad one, unless you're really skilled in that line of repairing things, your only other chance would be to hope for the best or turf it off. But a rusty one here in Australia will never get past Reggio, and this was on Club's Reggio when she picked it up and he took the plates off there. Next clip out is probably going to be looking inside that birdcage and just see what it's like, and then the rails, and we'll go from there. Even though I think since it's been in Australia roughly 30 years, I think when it come here it probably had what they call a closed door respray. So that's, in other words, where they spray right around the outside, and they don't do inside the drawer dam, things like that, because that's a fair bit of work, or inside the doors. Because I noticed a difference in inside doors where they were, you know, like paint chipped and heavily like that, compared to the outside. It didn't look too bad. But over in the US, when this was born back in '75, this was originally a yellow car, so I think they call the colour bright yellow. So that's a thing, and it looked like it come with, from these are aftermarket dealer option, these rear racks here, like luggage racks, but it come with that one there, from what I gather, and naturally it's automatic, but it also come with the telescopic tilt wheel, and it's got air conditioning things down there, even though this doesn't have air, so it most likely had air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, and I think that would be about all. No radio with it like the original one, so it's gone. So overall, I think, back to this motor side where we're just here at the moment, I think with the Holley carburetor, the cam, the headers really do look nice, sound good, like I just showed you earlier when I kicked it over. I think it would have a little bit of get up and go. The only drama it had on it, and I worked on it, there was a hole in the mufflers, and I wouldn't be surprised if the exhaust systems from new too, because they just look like they haven't been touched, and it had a bit of a hole in it, and I did a bit of repair work on the hole. But I'm going to do a fair bit of work on this Corvette. Hopefully this gives you a bit of an idea. You can see both sides. It's in not bad order. I think he's only done about 400 miles since he put those tyres on. So that bit aside, it's got the tyres. This one here, no worries there. I have got the centre cap there for it, but when the daughter went for a run in this car, it's jamming or sticking on the right hand rear brakes there, and I think it's a when those sticky calipers, or it's frozen. So I'm going to pull this wheel off and take the caliper off and probably kit that. The headlights are a little bit slow to lift and come down too, so I'll probably have to put a kit in that. Now, one good thing, and you can't really see it here now, but later on I'll get under it and take photos. He produced something like a receipt which was done, I don't know, 3 years back, or somewhere around about 3 years I think it was, where he put it in and spent $5,500 on a front end rebuild, and that was power steering, all the front end parts and things like that. new calipers on the front, brake lines, everything like that. So we spent $5.5 grand there up front just to do the front end on it. So that's a bonus. That's something you won't have to go into. And I don't know if you can see it from with this camera under here. Yeah, so you can't really see anything what's going on there, but what I will do later on, I'll put it up on ramps at the front and we'll have a closer look that way. So overall it needs a new battery too, but I figure what I'm going to work on is just to tidy up on it, because the more money you spend on cars the less you've got a chance to get in the back. But this presents itself really well and, you know, really looks the part when you see it, and it's sitting there idle and chugging along with that cam in it. So I think overall it's going to be a good project, and like I said, I'll be able to do most of the work myself. It'll be the painting of finishing off the front, inside the door jambs, that bit at the tail end of it. That isn't an original tail for these, that's why you can tell it's fiberglass too, because they never made it for this model. But I don't even know if you can get the original stuff anymore, and if it was it'd be highly expensive. And I've also got to do the door cards and that too, because I got to check the price on just a set of door cards, one of these. And honestly, in Australia, if you want to get a new set brought in, no change out of, or virtually no change out of $2 grand. So I'm just going to fix the holes in them the best I can and leave it at that. I mean, this is no show pony, this is just something you want to go out and take it for a little bit of a run. I've also ordered new tail lights, and it's missing the Corvette name here. So I've had these lenses out, and I thought, oh well, bugger it, they're not very dear, I'll buy a new set of those, buy the badges for the back of it, and when I get into it, tidy it up the best I can. And even the roof of it, you know, the roof's in really good order. Get underneath. Pretty hard to do a photo session of a black car, but on an overcast day. But overall, when I get in here and respray all this interior, tidy it up, I think overall it's going to be not a bad looking chariot. So that bit aside, I think that'll end it now. So hopefully you like this. If so, give it a thumbs up. If you do happen to bump into this channel for the first time, like I said, I'm going to put a playlist here, and you'll be able to go to that playlist and see everything that's been done on this car. So once again, thanks for tuning in, taking a look, and I'll catch you up on clip 2, where we're going to check out the bird cage and just see if there's much rust in it or any rust in it, and we'll see how things go. Cheers.